Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling something I think we all run into. This huge, sometimes kind of funny gap between what we intend, what we plan, maybe what we believe.
And what actually happens when it meets reality? That unforgiving test.
Exactly. It feels like the world just doesn't care about our stories, our intentions. It only cares about, well, what we actually do.
That's the core of it. And our sources for this deep dive, they really hammer this home. Lots on action, verification, critical thinking. It applies everywhere. Leadership, personal life, you name it.
Yeah, we've pulled together insights from military history, Stoic thinkers, leaders, experts, and even this amazing little story about scorpions.
Right. Scorpions in Montana, of all places.
Our mission here is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Help you sidestep some of those common ways plans just fall apart.
We're really asking, what happens when our assumptions, even our firmest orders, just slam into the facts on the ground?
We'll get into why maybe a president has less effective power than a general sometimes. That's Scorpion story, obviously.
Mhm.
And why just being good might be the best form of revenge.
Okay, let's get into it. This friction between what we want and what is.
Let's start with leadership. That idea of feedback, checking if decisions actually worked.
Yeah, because people mess up, decisions go wrong. I mean, even the smartest decision you make today, it's got a shelf life. And odds are it's not going to be perfectly executed anyway.
Right.
Which is why you constantly need to check. You need verification. History gives us a great example here.
You mean the Truman and Eisenhower thing?
Exactly. Harry Truman, watching Dwight Eisenhower get elected president, Truman knew the job, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he famously said something like, poor Ike. He knew Eisenhower came from the military, where you give an order.
And it gets done. Or so the thinking goes.
Right. Truman said, now he's going to sit in that big office, give an order, and not a damn thing is going to happen.
Ouch. That's pretty blunt. It really highlights how authority itself, even presidential authority, isn't always enough, is it?
Not against bureaucracy, inertia, just the real world getting in the way.
But hold on. Eisenhower was super effective as a general. He obviously had huge authority there, too. So what's the difference? Why did it work in the military?
Well, the sources argue it wasn't about more authority in the military. It was about having verification built into the system.
Oh, okay.
The military learned, probably the hard way, that futility is the lot of most orders. Basically, an order goes down the chain 5, 6 levels.
And it gets twisted, diluted, maybe just ignored.
Pretty much, it just dissolves. So they knew this, they expected it.
So how do they fight that? How do they make orders stick?
They built in feedback loops, something politics often lacks. A president gives an order, maybe gets back some reports.
Which are probably filtered, polished,
Yeah.
telling the boss what they want to hear.
Exactly. The only truly reliable check, the sources really stress this, is a go by oneself and look.
You have to see it for yourself. Get eyes on the ground. That's the Peter Drucker idea too, right? Go out and kick the tires.
Precisely. You need to personally check if things actually happen the way you intended.
So for anyone listening who's leading remotely or managing big projects, what does go by oneself and look mean today, practically?
It means you have to design your processes so you're actually bumping into the ground truth regularly, not just reading summaries. If you skip the verification step.
Then your decisions is just theoretical. It's just on paper.
Yeah, it hasn't actually happened in reality yet. Truman saw that Ike, in the Oval Office, would be cut off from that verification habit he probably took for granted as a general.
That's a huge distinction. Okay, so if Truman and Ike show the problem with unchecked commands, what about unchecked assumptions? This brings us to the Scorpions.
Right, the Scorpion Principle. This story comes from Steven Rinella. He's camping with his kids in Montana.
Okay.
And one of his kids, a young kid, says, hey, I saw a scorpion.
And the dad, Ranella, who is this expert outdoorsman,
He knows Montana. And his immediate thought is, nope, there are no scorpions in Montana. Just dismisses it outright.
huh? Yeah, that sounds familiar. The expert ego kicking in. Your own certainty feels more real than what someone else saw.
Totally. But here's the brilliant part. Instead of just arguing, he gives the kid a challenge demanding proof. He says, okay, bring me a scorpion.
Oh, I like that. He didn't just shut them down. He made reality the judge.
Exactly. He shifted the burden. It wasn't about his authority versus the kid's claim anymore. It was about the evidence. And, well, you can guess what happened.
The kids found one.
They came back minutes later with 2 of them. Turns out there is a scorpion species in Montana, the northern scorpion. His assumption was just plain wrong.
Wow, that must have been humbling.
Hmm.
But what a lesson. What's the takeaway for us?
It's humility, isn't it? Being willing to let the facts just beat your strongest beliefs. Whether you're running a company or just talking with a colleague, demand proof, yes, but also be ready to be proven wrong yourself.
It teaches everyone involved that evidence trumps authority. You got to show your work, like in math class.
Right. You respect reality enough to let it have the final say, even if your ego takes a hit.
But sometimes asking for that proof, that verification, it can feel a bit, I don't know, aggressive, especially at work. How do you do it without seeming like you're just trying to pick a fight?
That's the tricky part. Yeah, it's about the framing. If you frame it as, hey, let's both make sure we understand this, or help me see the data you're seeing, it feels collaborative, like a mutual search for the truth.
Rather than prove you're right because I think you're wrong.
Exactly. The Scorpion principle is about respecting reality first. That shouldn't be emotional.
Speaking of emotional, let's shift gears from checking external reality to dealing with internal reactions when reality, well, bites back. Like injustice, rudeness, someone stealing your credit.
Yes. That immediate hot feeling. The urge for revenge.
It feels so natural, so justified sometimes, like you need to retaliate to set things right.
It's primal, for sure. We feel wronged, diminished, and we think striking back is the answer. But the Stoics, they saw this completely differently. They saw revenge as hurting yourself.
Marcus Aurelius had that incredible line, didn't he?
He did. Just brilliant. The best way to avenge yourself is to not be like that.
Wow. Just
Yeah.
don't be like the person who harmed you.
Think about it. When you chase revenge, you're letting that other person control your emotions, your time, your focus, and worse, you're letting them dictate your character.
How does it defeat you, though? Why is it so bad for the person seeking revenge?
Because it doesn't actually heal anything. It often makes the wound deeper. It sucks up your energy. And think about it if someone's rude and you respond with rudeness.
You're basically validating their behavior. You're sinking to their level.
Exactly. You prove their cynical view right. Maybe they think, see, everyone's nasty. You haven't won. You've just become part of the problem. You've let them shape who you are in that moment.
You let them define the terms of engagement. Seneca had that great analogy, too.
Oh, yeah. The mule and the dog. He asked basically, would any sane person kick a mule back if it kicked them? Or bite a dog that bit them?
No, of course not. It makes the whole idea of emotional revenge seem kind of absurd.
Yeah.
Beneath us.
Because you're reacting emotionally to something that might be irrational or just base. You're lowering yourself.
So the real power move is refusing to let their behavior drag you down. Sticking to your own principles regardless. There was that line in the source material, "A gentleman will not insult me, and no man not a gentleman can insult me."
That's it, that internal sovereignty. Choosing to maintain your own character, your own standards, despite the provocation. That's real strength. That's the ultimate revenge because you deny them the power to corrupt you.
That focus on the internal state connects perfectly to the next idea, overcoming fear. The sources say something really interesting, that the fear of suffering often messes us up more than the suffering itself.
Oh, absolutely. Fear is paralyzing. It whispers all these limiting stories in our ear. Don't try that. You might fail. Don't speak up. You'll look stupid.
But when we can somehow push past that fear, stop listening to that internal noise.
That's when we unlock our real capability. The sources even use the word blissful, a state where you can finally, take those leaps forward.
That sounds like being in the zone or on a hot streak. We usually think that's just luck, right? But you're saying it's more about getting out of our own way.
Pretty much. The hot streak isn't some mystical force. It's probably just you operating at your peak potential because you finally stopped interfering with yourself through fear and doubt.
Okay, so how do we tap into that? How do we find that leverage point, that thing that lets us make those leaps?
The key seems to be authenticity. Finding what is play to you, but looks like hard work to others.
Ah, okay. So finding the work that genuinely energizes you, even if it seems tough to someone else.
Exactly, because if it feels like play, you bring this natural enthusiasm, this energy, your focus is better, your drive is higher. That's your unique advantage.
And that energy, that enthusiasm, it's contagious too, isn't it?
It really is. Coach Sean Wooden pointed that out. He said, your energy and enjoyment will inspire others. But, and this is crucial, that enthusiasm doesn't mean you can skip the hard work.
Right, back to reality again. The sources say to deserve magic, you have to play right. What does playing right involve?
It means mastering the fundamentals. Doing the basics, but doing them savagely well, as one source put it. It's the preparation, the practice, the behind-the-scenes work.
So you're ready when opportunity knocks, that whole luck is preparation meeting opportunity idea.
Precisely. You can't catch a wave if you haven't learned to paddle. You won't find the scorpion if you haven't learned to look closely. You need the foundation.
Okay, so find what feels like play, cackle the fear that holds you back, and relentlessly practice the fundamentals. That feels like a powerful combination, especially for leadership, which is our next stop.
Yeah, great leadership. It often involves navigating that tension Rosalind Carter talked about.
Remind me of that quote.
She said, "A leader takes people where they want to go. A great leader takes people where they don't necessarily want to go, but ought to be."
Taking people where they ought to be. That often means pushing them out of their comfort zone, right? Which requires real presence from the leader, especially now.
Especially now, we live in an age of just infinite distraction. Our attention is constantly being pulled in a million directions.
So the key leadership skill becomes just being present.
The ability to transition quickly and be fully there for whatever task or conversation is right in front of you, whether it's a big meeting or just listening to one person, that's becoming incredibly rare and incredibly valuable.
The Stoics were big on this too, weren't they? This idea of mental stillness.
Absolutely. They saw it as like the whole point of philosophy. Their advice, concentrate on it like a Roman.
Like a Roman, what does that mean?
Just implies this intense, single-minded focus, shutting out the noise, dealing with the thing right here, right now, completely. That kind of presence builds trust and influence like nothing else.
And once you have that influence, you have a responsibility. Robin Sharma had a powerful take on this.
Yeah, a clear directive. Leave everyone you meet better than you found them. Simple but profound. Be an encourager. Build people up, don't tear them down.
Because we're always influencing people, whether we mean to or not, through our actions, our verification, our reactions, or lack thereof.
We have to be intentional about that impact.
So all these things, checking reality, managing reactions, building capability, being present, they matter on the way up, but maybe even more once you've achieved some success.
That's what Simon Sinek warns about. He says something like, our greatest test isn't the journey to success, it's what we do with success once we find it.
Why is success itself such a test? What's the danger?
Complacency. Success makes it easy to get lazy. People stop challenging you as much. The reports get rosier. Those verification habits we talked about, like going to look for yourself.
They start to fade away. You start believing your own press clippings.
Exactly. You stop kicking the tires. You rest on your laurels while reality keeps changing around you. Success can actually blind you to the need for continued vigilance.
Which brings us right back where we started. Our plans, our status, our stories. They mean basically nothing until they collide with reality.
That's the bottom line, isn't it? Action always proves why words mean little. Reality is the ultimate judge. It demands proof. It demands growth.
So, wrapping all this up, the sources seem to point towards a fundamental choice. It sounds simple, but maybe it isn't. It's also simple. Choose light.
Choosing light. I think that means choosing verification over just assuming. Choosing virtue over lashing out. Choosing presence over being distracted.
Is facing the scorpions even when you're sure they aren't there.
Yeah.
It's trusting the skills you've built.
Right. And interestingly, the sources connect this internal state to the external world. Inner peace creates peace in the world.
So if that stillness, that presence, that authentic capability, if those are the keys, then the final thought for you, the listener, has to be, what narratives are holding you back right now?
Narratives of fear, of wanting revenge, of thinking you're not capable.
What do you need to shed today to find that inner peace, that stillness, so you can really engage with reality and consistently make that simple but powerful choice for light?
That's where the real work starts.